Living below your means is about building a life where money doesn't constantly sit in the back of your mind and where you don't need every single paycheck to land perfectly in order to breathe. Which, of course, in order for this to happen, you have to spend less than you bring in. But some of the money decisions that affect whether you're able to do this don't always start in your bank account. They start in your head. So here are some things that you can do to make living below your means feel almost effortless. But before jumping in, I create videos on finance, so hit the like and subscribe button if you want to see more. In addition, if you're looking to save money and improve your spending habits, don't forget to join the 90-day money saving challenge, where every day you will receive one simple task to help you think differently about money and naturally spend less. So the first thing you need to do is start making financial decisions as your future self. Most people make decisions as the version of themselves that wants relief now. And this could be the tired version, the stressed out version, or the one that just wants nice things because the day was a lot. But there's one thing that you need to ask yourself that could really change everything. What kind of person do I want to be financially? Not how much money you want, not what you want to buy, but rather who you want to be. Because if you want to be the person who truly does not worry about money, understand that that version of yourself would probably make completely different decisions than your current self. So they're not panicking at the end of the month because they overspent on things they didn't need, and they're not afraid of unexpected expenses. And most importantly, they're not relying on credit to feel okay. So when you're about to spend, pause and ask yourself, would my financially calm self make this choice? And sometimes the answer will be yes, and that's okay, because living below your means is not about never enjoying your money. But other times, the answer might be no. And if that is the case, it is so important that you listen to that voice and you don't try and convince yourself otherwise, because that no could be a sign that you know deep down that that purchase is not going to get you closer to the life or the person that you want to be. In addition, you have to treat saving money like you're training. And one reason why some people give up on this whole idea of living beneath their means is because they want super quick results. So in other words, they want to feel relief and stability immediately. But that is not how it works. You don't walk into a gym once and come out strong. Instead, you train for weeks and months and sometimes years. You repeat boring movements, you rest, you mess up, and you try again. And living below your means is just like that. Because at the end of the day, it's really financial training. Some weeks will be easy, others will be frustrating. Sometimes you can do everything right and still feel behind. But all of that doesn't mean that it's not working, because when it's all said and done, you're building endurance. And this is something that you need to remind yourself over and over again. So instead of throwing your hands in the air or thinking, I failed because I overspent, think, what did I learn from this? Maybe you learned that certain situations trigger your spending more than others, or that your budget is unrealistic, or maybe you're trying to do too much too fast. Because here's the thing, a lot of people who have been able to successfully live below their means long term aren't necessarily high earners. In many cases, they just had a lot of self-awareness and they were able to stay consistent through the boring middle. And you also have to stop paying for who you used to be, because a lot of overspending has nothing to do with needing something new. It comes from holding on to what your old self used to do. So even though you say you want change, you might still be low-key spending like the version of you that had a different income, or the one that needed external validation, or the one who used spending to cope. And this is where some tough choices come in, because even though life has become more expensive, rising costs do not automatically mean that you're powerless or that nothing can change. Because for some people, the issue isn't just inflation, it's also their decisions. For example, you have some people who are spending thousands or even hundreds more than they technically should be every single month because of the standards they're holding on to. So in other words, it is possible for them to live somewhere that's safe, clean, and more affordable, but they don't want to because it feels too average or it doesn't come with all the bells and whistles. And they could drive a lower priced, reliable car that's in their budget and save hundreds of dollars each month, yet they don't want to give up the upgrade. In addition, they could take fewer trips a year, which would allow them to build a real savings, but yet they feel like anything less than all the time is deprivation. And no one is saying that you can't enjoy these things. Obviously, it's okay to live. And at the end of the day, living below your means does not mean a complete lifestyle downgrade, but it does often require finding that middle ground which is essentially a life that still feels good but doesn't involve constant overspending. Another thing you might have to do is make parts of your life boring on purpose. And here's something that nobody says out loud. If everything in your life has to feel exciting all the time, you might always overspend. Many people who live below their means intentionally make parts of their life boring, and not because they're settling. And by the way, I use that term very loosely because boring doesn't mean joyless. It means predictable. And predictability is really what allows your finances to breathe. And this is really where systems come in, because these people aren't just more disciplined, they've also made overspending inconvenient. So you're not going to catch these people aimlessly wandering aisles impulse spending. They know what they need, they're going to make a list, and they're going to stick to it. So there's no debating extras or snacks and treats at checkout because they gave their money instructions before they even grabbed a card. And finally, you have to release yourself from thinking it is what it is, because that type of thought can keep you stuck. And yes, it's true that there are a lot of things that you have absolutely no control over, but you do have some control over this. The end goal is to create some gap between what you're bringing in and what you're paying out, even if it's just a small gap. So one thing I recommend to start is canceling one monthly habit or expense and then transferring the difference into savings. So let's say you cancel 2 subscriptions and you save $30 a month. Every month going forward, that's now $30 in savings. And I don't want to hear that it's not going to make a difference, because yes, it does. It builds a habit and it gets you into a savings routine. And moving along, next, I want you now to reduce your grocery bill by as little as $10 a week, which is another $40 in savings. So now you're at $70 a month. And going even further, I want you to really get serious about paying yourself first, starting with only 5% of your take-home pay. And if 5% is legitimately too much, problem solve. Maybe you can do 2% or 3%. You might surprise yourself, because even if you didn't move that money into savings, there is a good chance that you could end up spending it on something else that didn't matter anyway. But don't stop there either, because the next thing you want to do is start slowly increasing your income. If you find a job making just $3.50 more an hour, after taxes, that could potentially be an additional $4,000 a year or $300 a month. And if you pay off a car or another loan, you can also start paying yourself that money, or at least half of it. And I'm not by any means saying that it's going to be easy, but you have to start somewhere, because constantly complaining without any action isn't going to get you anywhere. And the best part is that these small steps don't just add up. From the very beginning, early on, you may realize that they also give you freedom to make choices without stress and to build a life that actually feels like yours. Start small, stay consistent, and watch how quickly your money starts working for you and not the other way around.